have poked myself in the eye like 4 times, and I was crying, and I was trying to get on live at 9 o'clock, and it took me 15 minutes because I poked myself in the eye. And it hurt. Oh, wow, now my mascara ain't working. Go figure. Go figure. Yeah, now they've all clumped up because I was crying. Because I poked myself in the eye. That shit hurts. It hurts really bad. I'm so ready to work out. I'm down the road from my gym. I cannot believe I poked myself in the eye. It hurt so bad I was crying. There was literal tears just falling and falling and falling. That's why I'm late. Because I was crying. Unbeknownst to me. I just didn't want to look dead walking into the gym first thing this morning, you know. They'll probably be pretty busy because it's Thursday, and so that's how it is. Good morning, y'all. Oh, Lord. Last night, I slept really good. I woke up this morning, I was like, how long did I sleep? The sun was up, which is rare for me, you know, living out of a car. You usually have to get up much earlier than when the sun's coming up. Typically, you have to get up before the sun comes up. So, that's just the way that it is living out of a car. Businesses don't want you staying over in the parking lot. They don't want to deal with you, you know, rolling out of bed at 11 a.m. So if you live out of a car, you're never going to be able to sleep in. You're going to have to be on a normal schedule where you wake up early and you get into bed kind of late. Well, when the sun goes down. I wonder if I got some hot sauce. Hey, carbonara. Listen. Yes, that was a hair. Mind your business. Let me fix this. Y'all, we're going to talk about this loser this morning because he almost went to jail again. Hello, Miss Woods. Tyreek Hill, if you don't know who he is, he's a loser. He should not be working for the NFL. He's actually harmed children. This is on record. Everything that we're going to go over after I eat is on record. There's court documents that you can find online to prove everything that I'm about to tell you about Tyreek Hill. It's always amazing to me how the actual child abusers end up playing for the NFL. Like, how does that happen? Oh, that's right. The NFL helped him out with that. If it were not for the NFL, he would have went to jail for abusing a child. Breaking a child's arm, to be exact. What a sensitive subject. As a mother who was wrongfully incarcerated, and I didn't see any jail time because I didn't harm my child. They cut me a plea deal because they knew that I wasn't that I was innocent, that I wasn't guilty of harming anyone. Isn't it crazy? Right up my alley. It just fell in my lap this morning. This piece of shit person out in society playing for the NFL. Tyreek Hill is one of the most irresponsible people that I have ever had the displeasure of learning about. And I'm pissed that he works for the NFL. But they already knew this. See, the public had a problem with him signing in the first place because he had harmed a child. But the NFL had enough money to cover that shit up and tie up them lips and get him signed. And that's what happened. So listen to what I'm telling you. We have a known child abuser who broke a child's arm working for the NFL. Oh, and guess what? He's about to go back to jail. Yeah, his wife has filed for divorce because allegedly he hit her again. Oh, and did I mention the part about he was about to dangle a baby off of a balcony yesterday? Oh, y'all, the dirt. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. Let me eat. This guy really pisses me off, but it's a prime example of how society, if you can make somebody enough money, they'll cover up all your dirt so that they can make money off of you and exploit you through the NFL. We've seen it time and time again with the NFL. It's been a huge problem. You know, in the 80s, it was coke and alcohol and domestic violence. And, you know, it's just progressed since then. You know, the NFL does not have the best track record when it comes to their players. They are constantly in trouble, constantly beating their wives, constantly in and out of jail, constantly getting DWIs, drug possession charges, gun charges. Aaron Rodriguez, remember him? Wasn't that his name? It's just a breakfast taco with bacon, egg, and cheese. Yep. Good morning. Absolutely. And they put people's lives in danger. That child that had their arm broken by Tyreek Hill should have had justice. But those charges were swept under the table because the NFL. Because he was about to be signed. That's the only reason that he was not charged with child abuse. I'll tell you the information in a second. Let me finish this. I'm getting ahead of myself because it makes me so angry. It makes me so angry to know how he's harmed people. And he plays for the NFL. So over the week, Tyreek Hill, his wife, listen, I have no doubt that they are abusive to each other. I have no doubt that she married him for money. But that's what you get when you marry a bitch like that. She's like a Cardi B wannabe. Need I say more? This is so good. Bacon. Oh man, I just dropped some of my tortilla on the floor. Good morning. Good morning, Joe Mama. This is so good. I should have got two. You gotta use the hot sauce. I just got bacon in my front two teeth. There is literal bacon in between my front two teeth. Of course there is. When was that? I'm so sick of the media. I should have an exact date for when they were called to this condo, but you know, the media doesn't want to tell you anything because the media is paid off by the damn NFL. You think they can't make shit go away? They make billions of dollars every year. They're just as bad as any large corporation that is profiting off of young boys and men, you know? Police were called to domestic disturbance involving Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill and his wife, Keita Hill, at the couple's condominium in Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, after Keita's mother made a call to authorities because she feared for her daughter's safety. The media is not going to tell you everything I am. What happened was Tyreek and his wife were arguing. They have a new baby that I do believe is only a few months old. Tyreek ran towards his wife. He jerked the newborn infant out of her arms strong enough to leave marks on her chest. This is in a police report. Officers observed that she had marks all down her chest. She claimed that he didn't hit her. She ain't gonna say nothing against him. Let's not forget that this is a domestic violence situation. She wants to be with him. He wants to be with her, but they are arguing all the time. It was her mother that called 911. Her mother saw this going down because she was there. And her mother called 911 fearing that he was going to throw that infant off of a 35 100-story balcony. From the surveillance footage, we can see both of them out on this huge 100-story building, okay? It's what it looks like. They are on the 35th floor. You can see them having words at the balcony. This is through surveillance footage. I have no doubt that he absolutely jerked that baby from her to scare her in that moment, and he walked towards that ledge, threatening her. Listen, not all words have to be, not all things have to be spoken. Things can be a threat without words being spoken. Specifically, your brand new 2-3-month-old baby being jerked out of your arms and then your husband running towards a fucking balcony. The way that he is standing at the balcony, Tyreek, with his newborn baby, the way that he is standing out the balcony is very clear to me that he was making a nonverbal threat towards his wife with this infant. Y'all remember the Michael Jackson dangling the baby over the balcony? I do. I sure do. That's child abuse. I love Michael. I don't think that he harmed children in a sexual manner, but it's still wrong. You don't dangle your baby off a balcony. I didn't ever think that I need to say that, but clearly Michael did it, okay? And that is abuse. Tyreek has a long, y'all, it took me over an hour to go through his criminal history. Why is a known child abuser working for the NFL? He broke a child's arm. Literally. So, Keita, who is married to Tyreek, decided to, yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. That's what, exactly, Mike. You get what you sign up for. Just looking at her, you can tell that she is more in love with herself than anything else on this earth. I have no doubt that she's money hungry. I have no doubt. I'm not, that doesn't, yeah, I agree. So it looks like this incident occurred on Monday of this week in the Sunny Isles Beach of Florida, just before 2 p.m. The police call came in is an assault in progress. Now, let's not forget that the mother of Keita, who is his mother-in-law, witnessed this whole scenario go down, and she was the one that called the cops. So if this says assault in progress and the mother-in-law called, that means that the mother-in-law witnessed her daughter getting assaulted. And we know that Keita had marks on her chest. Now, Keita is claiming that they didn't come from him, that it was an accident. When he jerked the baby, he accidentally hit her. These people, he is known to be very aggressive and violent. I have no doubt that I believe that she probably is in some way too. Whether it's pushing his buttons intentionally, whatever, This is a volatile, toxic relationship. This is the epitome of a volatile, toxic relationship. So it looks like when they responded to this call on Monday and Keita was there with her baby, the cops show up and she told law enforcement that she was filing for divorce. Well, this morning when I looked that up, it looks like as of earlier in the week, she has filed for divorce. I think that is the smartest thing that she can do, because this man is not only a criminal and should be behind bars. He should be in jail. This really upsets me. And I'm about to get into his criminal charges and when he harmed a child. The police knew that this was a criminal act, but the NFL somehow was able to cover this information up about Tyreek Hill. So he's been accused from everything from domestic violence to child abuse, and now more domestic violence and more child abuse. So it looks like he was actually married to a girl, or no, he was dating some girl named Crystal. Espinal, if you want to go look this up, because this is also, it would have been his co-defendant in a criminal case. So it looks like she was 8 weeks pregnant with his child and told police in an argument on the night of December 12th of 2014 at Hill's Stillwater home that they had an argument that escalated to physical violence. Crystal said that she was choked by Tyreek. He also punched her in the stomach and face. And let's not forget she was 8 weeks pregnant. So he spent the night in jail, and on the next day, he was actually charged with felony domestic assault and battery by strangulation. That day, Oklahoma State announced that they had dismissed Hill from the football and track programs. So he was actually dishonorably discharged from his football team because he beat his child's mother and went to jail for it. Oklahoma State put out a statement stating that they do not tolerate any sort of DV or violence. The NFL feels differently about that. You can harm children and then go play for the NFL. So it looks like in August of that year, he pled guilty to the charges. And thanks to a plea agreement with the district attorney's office, he received 3 years probation. And you can best believe that they took those felony charges to misdemeanor charges. That's how he was able to get probation. Otherwise, his ass would have been going to jail. So the prosecutor decided to lower the charges and give him a plea deal, and he got probation. I wonder why that happened. Why would anybody do that? Maybe because the NFL has showed up and asked you to do that. Because it wouldn't be long thereafter he would go play for the NFL. He would be drafted for the NFL. And he didn't even have a shot in hell. That's the craziest part. Like, he wasn't even a pick or anything. And I don't know anything about football. But he was a nobody with a long criminal history, with known violence, propensity for violence. It's crazy to me what the NFL will do to make money. Listen to this. In 2015, there was a coach, you fucking idiot, West Alabama coach Brett, Gilliland, Gilland, allowed Hill to join the football team. He played one season for the Tigers before entering the 2016 NFL draft. So this coach put him on the map. This coach pulled him into that inner circle of the NFL. Hill was not invited to the NFL Combine, and due to his 2014 arrest, was not expected to be drafted. What happened to that? So it's okay for him to just beat people and the NFL can just cover it up and say, oh, well, we weren't going to draft him, but now we kind of need him, so let's cover this shit up. You listen, this is exactly how society works. Everything that I'm alleging is exactly how society works. If you know enough people in enough positions of power and you have enough money, you can make anything go away. Especially if they know they're going to make millions off of you. They will help you make it go away. So let's see here. It looks like the girl that he allegedly beat and tried to, in my opinion, murder her baby. Why would you punch an 8-week pregnant woman in the stomach unless you were trying to terminate that pregnancy? She eventually gave birth to his son. How sad. In 2015 when he was about to be drafted for the NFL. And he wasn't even invited to the NFL Combine. And due to his 2014 arrest, was not expected to be drafted. The Chiefs were willing to take the risk. Keyword. Yet they already knew. They already knew. Keyword risk. They were willing to take the risk after Hill ran a 4.25 second 40-yard dash at his pro day. So they were willing to put people's lives in danger, give this man access to money, and God knows what else. And they don't give a shit as long as he can run fast. Kansas City drafted him the 5th round of the 2016 draft at number 165 overall. And the Kansas City said, I just want everybody to understand that we have done our due diligence with regards to full vetting each one of our draft class members. You sure about that? And it looks like there was so many Kansas fans that were mad about him being drafted for Kansas. They were extremely upset because they did not want him playing. At rookie minicamp in May of 2016, Hill told reporters that he understood their concerns because all of the Kansas fans were pissed. And with, you know, they have a right to be. They have valid concerns. He's already beat one woman, tried to murder a child, in my opinion. And it's just going to get worse from here. This man has nothing but children and violence in his path his entire life. He said, quote, "I did something wrong. I let my emotions get the best of me. I shouldn't have did it." Buckle in, because there's like 3 or 4 more of these. This is just the very, very beginning of his career as a womanizer, domestic violence perpetrator, okay? And I'm not saying those women were any better. I'm just saying it's very clear that Tyreek is a POS, and he was raised to be a POS. His criminal record shows that he's a POS, and it would be different if he was drafted and did those things before and then got his shit together. But he is still in and out of jail, committing more crimes, bringing more women and children into the world to harm. Like, on March 15th of 2019, the Kansas City Star reported that Hill was under police investigation for battery involving him and his 3-year-old son, who had suffered a broken arm. And I just want to say, statistically speaking, more often than not, it is the father to behave this way, not the mother. Statistically speaking. I'm not saying that women don't commit abuse, because they absolutely do. Hurt people. But statistically speaking, more often than not, it is the father that has done something that is this severe. Not always, but just the male stats far outweigh the women's stats. The Kansas City Chiefs said that they were aware of the situation, but they were going to allow Hill to participate in the team's off-season program in April. The investigation led to Hill and his child's mother temporarily losing custody of their son. On April 25th, the Johnson County, Missouri District Courts announced that neither Hill or his child's mother would be charged with abuse. And you can best believe that's because the NFL swept in and damn said, "Oh, what do we got to do to make this go away? Who we got to pay off around here?" That's absolutely how these things work. If you have not already come to that conclusion by how much I report on the same stories over and over with police corruption, you might never get it. The whole entire country is ran the exact same way. It's all who you know and how much money you're willing to pay. So the cops said that they were not going to charge this couple, Tyreek Hill and his child's mother, with child abuse, but they knew, it says, but that a crime had occurred and the investigation remained active. The DA could not prove who did what to the child. I already know who did what to the child. It's not rocket science. Unbelievable. So he broke this baby's arm, allegedly, and he's free, working for the NFL. Even the NFL did their own private investigation into Tyreek Hill when he allegedly broke that child's arm. And let me just reiterate that the only reason that he was not charged was because the DA couldn't prove who had done it, which of the parents had done it. They knew that a crime had taken place in that home when that child's arm was broke. They knew that one of them parents broke the child's arm. They just didn't know which one. And I have no doubt that the NFL came in and wiped Tyreek's ass so that he could continue playing sports. It's disgusting. And what about that baby that had their arm broke? His child. His child. Don't you think a father that witnessed their child being abused by the mother would say that? So why didn't he? Why did he stay with her after she broke their child's arm? Because she didn't break it. Call me crazy, but it makes me sick that this man is yet again married to another woman or married to a woman with another baby, acting the same way he did 10 years prior. If he had made some life changes and had his come to Jesus moment or come to whatever God moment, maybe it would be different. This is not a good person. This is a career criminal that plays for the NFL. And the NFL makes sure that he plays. What father would stay with a mother that broke their child's arm? Because I'm here to tell you right now, if I don't go to jail for killing him, then he's going to jail for breaking my child's arm. Do you get it? So you really have to ask yourself why Tyreek stayed with her if she broke the child's arm. If we're talking about who broke the child's arm, why would he stay with her? And then get engaged to her. He sure did. He got engaged to her right after. Right after. They got engaged. Who stays with a child abuser? More often than not, the women, unfortunately, because they feel trapped in the situation. A lot of men stay in abusive situations too. It's just a little bit more rare. And when we're talking about a two-parent home with one parent that already has violence in his history, I mean, it's just nonstop. Don't even say anything wrong to the guy. He might cut your throat. Like, he's absolutely insane. It's crazy to me how this 28-year-old kid has this much power, and he's going around destroying families, harming children, harming his girlfriend and wives, and nobody says shit because the NFL wants to make money off of him. This is a child abuser. Crazy. Allegedly, in my opinion. Because I'm here to tell you, if a mother, most mothers that knew that their child's father broke their child's arm, they're not staying. I don't know, but she did. And that's a domestic violence situation. That's what makes it DV. She probably needs him at this point. She's a single mother. Like, every parent needs help. And families, children deserve to have both parents. They need both parents. So it says, so the commissioner of the NFL, Roger Goodell, told the media in May that he's not going to interfere with the police investigation, but the NFL was doing their own investigation into Tyreek Hill when he broke that child's arm. So allegedly. When are we going to get to the point to where everybody has got so much common sense that we can just read through the bullshit? That would be great. You can't do that. The NFL's decision not to discipline Hill during this situation stunned many around the league. The surprise stemmed from not from the alleged violence, even though the NFL's disciplinary process does not carry the same burden of proof as the legal system does, but from the threatening language in the recorded in particular. You need to be terrified of me too, you dumb bitch. When viewed in the context of the full 11-minute 27, who leaves a voice recording cussing somebody out for 11 minutes and 30 seconds? Apparently, he called her and made a bunch of violent threats to his soon-to-be baby's mama. Well, this was after the child was broke because he broke the 3-year-old's arm, allegedly. So, this was after that. Apparently, he left tons of voicemails threatening her and, hold on one second, which is expected. I mean, that's, lots of people do that. Just because I don't do that don't mean it's not normal. Lots of people behave that way. So, dominating as a punter, returner, and a receiver, Hill earned 3 bowl selections and 2 All-Pro nods in his first 3 NFL seasons. Then, before the 2019 season, he found himself in trouble yet again. And after that was the child abuse when his son had a broken arm, and the DA couldn't prove if it was the mother that broke the arm or if it was the father that broke the arm. But given Tyreek's history, I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of rare for a mother who was with her child, and she was closer to the child than she was to Tyreek. So I just don't see her behaving that way. I don't know too many mothers that would intentionally harm their child. It's more likely that this child got caught up in the mix of domestic violence and was also a victim, in my opinion. It was probably a pawn in a domestic violence situation. Early in the next morning, the Chiefs suspended Hill indefinitely. GM Brett Veach said Hill would not be taking part in any team activities for the foreseeable future. On June 20th of 2023, the Miami-Dade Police Department released a statement announcing that Hill was involved in an altercation at the marina in Miami Beach, Florida. He was accused of slapping an employee in the back of the head following a disagreement. It looks like Hill and another man were fishing off the dock, which was illegal. You don't say. Then the two women in Hill's party boarded a dock boat before paying for services, which upset the boat's captain. Hill's response to the captain, and I believe every stinking word of this because this is his personality in a nutshell. What he is about to say is this man's whole demeanor. He tells the fishing captain, quote, "I can buy you and this boat. I'm no number 10 of the Miami Dolphins." And this is what happens when we have troubled teens that grow up behaving like troubled teens, and then people just wipe the asses for them and throw them in the NFL. This was not a good kid to start with. He already had a violent history, okay? And he was not in a place where he can take responsibility for his actions. He has never been self-aware. He's a jerk. He's a jerk. He's an absolute piece of shit jerk. I don't know what else to say. He doesn't have a conscience. He doesn't have a soul. Like, this man disgusts me. Tyreek Hill is one of the most disgusting people that I've ever seen play a sport in general. Like, just in general. Like, I can't believe that he works for the NFL. It's mind-blowing. How many women and children have to get hurt? Well, it looks like 2 women and 2 children got hurt before he was finally barred from the Chiefs. They put him on, they disbarred him. They said, "We don't want you here anymore. You ain't playing for Kansas because you're not a team player and you like to beat children and women, sir." Allegedly. Allegedly. Good morning, y'all. Good morning, good morning. So he tells the boat captain that he'll buy him and the boat. What a snarky remark for some rich kid that got lucky because one coach pushed him through. Little does he know, he shouldn't even be in his position, and he wouldn't have been if he wouldn't have had help from the one coach. Good morning, y'all. Good morning, Peanut Butter Jelly Cup, Deborah, Breezes. So he was illegally fishing off of this boat. He had words with the captain. He said, "I'll buy you in the boat." Then he hits this guy in the back of the head. And so the captain calls the police. And while the police are on the way, one of Tyreek's friends tries to give this boat captain $200 so that they won't tell the cops that he was assaulted. So that he won't tell the cops that he was assaulted. Miami-Dade police investigated the alleged assault and battery, but announced on June 21st that it was declining to pursue charges against him. Imagine being a 60-year-old fishing boat captain, and you get this little shit, okay, that thinks he's somebody because he plays for the fucking NFL, and he comes on your boat and tells you while he's illegally fishing off your boat that he could buy you and that boat, and then he hits you in the back of the head, which is assault, and you call the cops, and because he plays in the NFL, no charges are ever filed. Because that's absolutely what happened. You can best believe this was assault. So why wasn't he arrested? Because he plays for the NFL. I can assure you that by the time he was being interrogated, the NFL already knew that the cops were on the way. Like, This is how these things work. By the time the cops got there and were interrogating him, Tyreek would have already been letting his coach and all of the higher ups, CEOs, whoever does what in the NFL, he would have been like, listen, I got this problem. I was on a fishing boat and this guy hit me and then I hit him back. This is exactly how these things work. They have handlers, you know, they have people that handlers that look after them, that they have to check in with. They have managers. They have a whole array of team of people that wipe their asses for them. And I have to say that over half of the NFL is playing under the age of 40 years old, which means that they're not even close to maturity. This is why we see so many NFL players going to jail. Specifically the younger ones, but you know, sometimes they turn it around. A lot of the times they don't. They blow their careers. So this guy, Tyreek, he is his own worst enemy. Oh, he paid off the victim. That's why these charges went away. So after he was illegally fishing off of a boat that he didn't have a license to be fishing on, I'm sure the captain didn't know that when he took him out for a fishing tour. After he assaults this fishing boat captain and tries to pay him off with $200 because the captain was going to report this assault to the police, and he did, eventually Hill reached an undisclosed settlement with the alleged victim to prevent him being charged. That was in August of 23. And the NFL announced that it would not punish Hill for his latest off-field misstep. And let's talk a little bit about his characteristics, what type of man he is, how he lets his ego and pride get in the way of being a good person. He has a pending lawsuit right now against a girl who he broke her leg too. This time it wasn't one of his children though. Allegedly. Apparently, this is a supermodel, Sophie Hall. She was participating in a football drill at his mansion. At one point, they were like scrimmaging and butting heads. And Sophie said that they were playing this football game and he lost his balance and he fell down in front of everybody. She kind of like accidentally showed him up at his home in front of his whole family. At this point, they said that he became irate and angry. And during the next session of the game, he did not hold back. They said that he barreled her, crushing her leg, which is why she has a lawsuit pending. So because you got embarrassed that this girl showed you up during a football game, your ego is going to tell you to go crush her? That's exactly who he is. He is a boy in a man's body with NFL contracts. This is a highly immature person who has a very fragile ego. It's so sad. So this girl, she had severe damage. Severe. It crushed her leg. It didn't break it. It like crushed it. Let me tell you exactly what happened. The lawsuit noted that the drills that took place were supposed to be in a playful manner. However, this girl, Miss Hall, claims that Hill was humiliated after she was able to hold her own against him and even knocked him back on occasion. And there was another report that I read that he was actually knocked to the ground when they were like scrimmaging and like hitting each other. And so I've read several different things. That led to Tyreek getting enraged at 29 years old, still a child. His brain is still not fully developed. And after all of these hits, it maybe never will be. That led the 29-year-old Tyreek to get enraged and to charge at her with crushing force. Oh, he severely fractured her leg, so he did break it. So they were saying like I thought they were saying like they crushed it. Sorry. The defendant Hill's aggression towards Miss Hall is consistent with the history of a violent and aggressive behavior towards women in general. This is listed in the lawsuit. So he is the type of man that he feels like if any kind of woman shows him up or talks back to him, that's another thing. He just got married, and the woman that her mother called the law Monday for the incident, she said publicly that things had been good when they first got married, but in recent months, anytime she would speak an opinion, he would get aggressive and angry if she would even speak her mind. That is a huge red flag for a narcissist, first of all. If you can't have an opinion and an identity, you need to run. So I don't know if something's going on with him. I think that this is just who he is. But he's a very violent person. Then back in 2024, not too long ago, 6 months ago, he was detained by police outside of Miami's Hard Rock Stadium for a driving violation. Do you know how fast and undangerous you have to be moving in a car to go to jail for a driving violation? He was cited for reckless driving as a result of the incident outside of the stadium with police. He reportedly got into a verbal altercation with police. I bet he did. I bet he did. What are you talking about right now? We don't even need to know that. I already know how he was treating the cops. Like, you don't need to say shit. You know what would do his ass some good? If he would have went to jail for that first domestic violence charge. You know what else would have done him good? If he went to jail for breaking his child's arm. You know what else would have done him good? If he went to jail and stayed in there for about 10 years. I bet he'd come out singing a different damn tune. When you go from 100 to 0, it'll change your fucking tune and your personality. Well, if you're smart, if you have an ounce of awareness in you, it will change your situation. Oh, okay. He was running late to the big game. Police were fans of the opposing team. Is that what it was? Is that what it was? Good morning. Yeah, celebrities aren't heroes, and that's the whole point. Thank you. So it looks like that he was so unorderly that they actually had to put him in handcuffs and throw him on the ground to get him to cooperate over a moving violation. Imagine you're about to get a speeding ticket and you just punch the cop in the face. I mean, he all but did that. He's cussing at him. He's being disorderly. He's not trying to own up to what he's just been caught red-handed doing, you know? And it's like... If that was you or me, we would have went to jail for disorderly conduct. I'm so sick of these. I'm so sick of these ignorant people getting a free ride in society. Once more information became available on the situation, the Miami-Dade Police Department put one of the officers responsible for his detainment on administrative leave. So one of the cops that stopped this asshole for speeding and doing unsafe movement in a motor vehicle, he could have killed somebody. And this is Miami, where people are walking around. Mothers have strollers out in the street. And this asshole was doing fast enough for the cops to have to put him into handcuffs and put him on the ground. But one of the cops gets put on administrative leave? Are you joking? I don't care if the situation was overblown. It was overblown because you're a psycho, dude. We're all just waiting around for you to kill somebody or throw a baby over a balcony like you liked to done on Monday. That was a clear threat. Any mother that watches that surveillance footage, you know that that was a threat. That was a non-verbal threat. When he jerked that baby and he walked towards that balcony, he was telling that mother, "Dare me, bitch." Not all threats need to be spoken. Yeah, he's a piece of shit. Let me see 1 second. Tyreek Hill child abuse. So it looks like back in So even when he beat his girlfriend, the one that he punched in the stomach several times, when he beat her, he was charged with assault, but it was deferred. The sentence was deferred, and he was ordered to pay a fine, and he was placed on probation. I don't know. I think that it's horrible to allow this man to continue to play in the NFL. At this point, he should have already been in jail, serving hard time for the strangulation of his first child's mother that he got a slap on the wrist and probation for. This is a violent offender who's known to have a fragile ego and is highly immature. To give someone fat power and money and fame like that, it goes straight to their head and it creates a monster. And that is what we see with Tyreek Hill. He's an absolute monster. He's one of the most horrible people that I've ever had the displeasure of learning about. And I don't understand why society puts perverts and child abusers and evil people on a pedestal. How many women has he abused at this point? We don't know. Just 3 that we know of. How many children? 2 that we know of. How many people have to come close to death or have trauma for him to be behind bars? How many women? How many children? Because I'm not comfortable with the first 2. You know, the one he tried to kill when he punched his baby's mama in the stomach 8 times. And that's the same baby that he broke its arm. It was 3 years later. Allegedly. It's not rocket science. I mean, it is, but it's not. I don't know. I think he's a horrible human, and I think he's going to rot in hell, and it's really disgusting that people can't recognize domestic violence. You know, his current child's mother that he just had the baby with, the one that, in my opinion, he was threatening to throw off the balcony, she said that before they got married, things were good, and then they got married, and about 2 or 3 months after they got married, it got to the point to where she couldn't even speak because he would become enraged and violent and start throwing shit around the house. Imagine getting married to somebody and you can't even talk to that person because they go into a fit of rage and they start destroying the house. This is the type of man we're talking about. This is a 8-year-old boy in a 30-year-old man's body now. Hello? Hello? Sorry. Alright. Well, y'all ain't getting no money today. Sorry. As the truck people, I just want to make sure everything's fine. Yeah, it's really disgusting. Tyreek, how dare he have my son's name? I mean... Let's take a gander. Let's see if there's any videos of him on YouTube, because I don't think most people can get an idea of who this guy is unless you really see. It's disgusting. I'm so disappointed. I mean, isn't it any surprise? Look at the history, the track record of them. No way, he did? He did hold that baby off the balcony. Video shows Tyreek Hill holding 5-month-old daughter off a balcony following a domestic dispute with wife. I told y'all he's a fucking psycho. He did hold that baby off the balcony. I told you it was a fucking threat. He clearly... What? Oh my God, y'all. Look at him holding that baby off the balcony. It's like Michael Jackson, but worse. Why is he not in jail? God. They just let real child abusers just go free. That's why. And they lock other people up for crimes they didn't fucking do and charge them with abuse. That's fucking why, Brooke. Because of money. Because he plays for the NFL. You can clearly see that he is dangling that baby off the fucking balcony, bro. You see his wife beater, and then the baby. And he ain't in jail. He's free. 35-story building. That is a 35-story building. I told y'all that it was a threat. Clearly, he dangled the baby off the balcony. Let's see how he speaks. Surely he can talk himself out of this, right?
This time after an argument with his mother-in-law. Lieutenant Rushlow.
I don't want to get a violation. Hold on. Look at that building.
Contact with Hill, his wife Keita Hill, and their child.
I'm ready for it.
They also speak to Tyreek's mother-in-law, Alicia Vaccaro. Let's get right to the police report. Quote, Vaccaro stated that Tyreek is very aggressive and impulsive, and that he has anger issues, and she is afraid for her daughter. And when she saw Tyreek arguing and throwing her daughter's computer to the floor, and later grabbing her granddaughter and start walking with her in his arms towards the balcony of their 35th floor residence, she called the police. Get up.
What if that grandma wouldn't have been there? We wouldn't know any of this. I mean, clearly, given who he is deep down internally. I think we could all assume, looking at Keita and Tyreek's relationship, that it's not healthy, functioning, or stable. It is the epitome of toxic bullshit. And what if the grandmother wouldn't have been there to witness him destroying the apartment, jerking the infant, and then bystanders wouldn't have filmed him dangling that baby over the balcony? We would never know. How many? This is the third child he's hurt now. So 3-4 women, multiple children. You know, does it have to get into, like, do we have to cross over a dozen victims to have this man arrested? Does it have to be dozens of victims? Does he have to actually kill a child? Because he's already broke one's arm. So, allegedly, in my opinion, absolutely 100% in my opinion, he just dangled a baby off of a balcony. Now we need to revisit that child abuse case from 2014 where he allegedly broke his son's arm at 3 years old. Now we have circumstantial evidence to prove that he has a propensity to show violence towards children, with them dangling a child off of a 35-story balcony to harm the mother and the grandmother. Think about this. He's not doing that in the benefit of the baby. He is doing that to harm the mother and the grandmother. The evil intent inside of that man is disgusting. He better be arrested. He dangled a baby off of a 35-story building. Tyreek Hill is a prime example of somebody who come into power and fame and money way too early, and it blew his ego and head up. And now he's a puny little man with a fragile ego that takes his anger out on women and children. It's disgusting. And the NFL, whoever allowed him to come back to the NFL after he broke his son's arm, allegedly, that person ought to be fired and charged criminally as well. I mean, it's ridiculous. This has got to stop. Women and children do not deserve this. And it's getting to the point to where if you have any ounce of slight celebrityism in you, then they just sweep everything under their rug. The LAPD will just take care of it. You can just pay them a few $100s and those charges will just disappear. It's sick. I don't think that's true. I don't think it has anything to do with race. There's lots of mixed races in the NFL. It has everything to do with who he knows, how much money he has, and his current NFL contract. You think they don't have a whole team of lawyers that works for the NFL to go clean up players' bullshits? I can assure you that they do. They probably keep them on retainer. Whole team of lawyer. Here, let's ask Google. Does the NFL retain lawyers on retainer for players? Oh. Yes. I knew it. The NFL, like any organization, retains lawyers, including general counsel and other legal stuff, to handle various legal matters, including labor relations, legal defense, and compliance. I bet you the NFL had someone on the way to get his ass out of jail before he was even in jail. Because that's what they do. That's what comes with signing for the NFL. They will lock your skeletons up in the closet and lock them away for you until they don't need you anymore, and then then them shits is popping out. Skulls are rolling everywhere. Oh Lord, y'all, I gotta get ready for the gym. I hate this son of a bitch. I think that I think it's disgusting how much evidence to support him being a child abuser and a womanizer is out there, and it's really sad. It's heartbreaking. These women that get involved with this guy, they're just as bad as him, though. So I just want to be clear that this is a situation of two idiots getting together and procreating, and those procreated children are going to end up being idiots just like them, because that's the system. That's generational. That's what happens. It has nothing to do with color. It has everything to do with class, okay? You're acting like a classless mess out here for the NFL, beating on women and breaking children's arms, allegedly. The police investigation over that alleged child abuse told me everything I needed to know. It said there was a crime committed. They did not know which parent did it. But given the circumstances, who do you think did it? The baby mama or the baby daddy who just dangled a different child off of a 35-story balcony on Monday in a domestic dispute with the baby mama? So it's the same situation 10 years later. Call me crazy, but he ain't learned shit. He ain't learned shit. He never will. He'll probably spend the rest of his life in and out of jail. At this point, we don't know the backlash that he's going to get over trying to harm another child, allegedly. And the NFL, you know, does he still play? I think he's current with the Chiefs, right? Kansas? Is Tyreek Hill still with the Chiefs? Or did they let him go in 2019? Yeah, they let him go in 2019, remember? So, who does Tyreek Hill play for? Miami Dolphins. This is so funny because remember what he told the captain of the boat? He said, I'm not no Miami Dolphin pick. Remember that? And now he plays for the Dolphins. He said, I'll buy you and this boat. I'm not no Miami player. Because he was playing for the Kansas City Chiefs back then. That is hilarious. And now you work for the Dolphins. That's what you get. That's what you get, you piece of shit. That's what you get. Even Google said he's on a dangerous path. He's on a dangerous path. Google, I don't fuck with you, but you got that right, okay? I give credit where credit is due, my friend. What a fucking psycho. I know exactly who he is. When his wife said that she couldn't speak, he would get enraged and start destroying their home. That told me everything I need. He's a complete narcissist. He thinks that he owns anybody he's talking to and that he has the right to decide when she should speak. Could you imagine me dating somebody like that? How quick you think I'll be in damn prison for life? I think I couldn't even go on a date with somebody like this. I might knife him at hello, you know? Because what a shitty person. There's nothing in the news about this. When I look up Tyreek Hill, okay, there's a little bit. 33 minutes ago, how much more will the Miami Dolphins take of Tyreek Hill? How much more will Dolphins take for one more year of Tyreek Hill? It sounds like they are absolutely sick of him because he has been wreaking havoc on their name. This thing won't let me read it, you piece of No charges filed for dangling your baby off of a 35-story building. You really have to wonder, like, how deep does this go? I mean, here's the thing. He's in Florida. He plays for the Miami Dolphins, so he can be anywhere in Florida and be in Miami in, just a few hours. I don't know where these... Oh, it was Palms Beach. It was something... I'm just wondering how many of these officers are being paid off to protect this bitch. Because I know that it's happening. He dangled a baby off a balcony that was a high-rise building. Why was he not arrested? This is all on camera. We have his mother-in-law that saw him destroying personal property, which is destruction of personal property, which is a misdemeanor charge. At the very least, they could have took him in for destroying his wife's computer. Why was he not arrested? You have to ask yourself who the NFL is fucking paying off. He could have been brought in for the destruction of personal property, which is a misdemeanor. He could have been brought in for domestic violence, which is a misdemeanor and can be a felony. He could have been brought in for child endangerment, which is a misdemeanor. He could have been brought in for neglect, which is a misdemeanor. He could have been brought in for child abuse, which is a misdemeanor and or a felony. I can name 5 or 6 off the top of my head that he did wrong and should be in jail for right now. If they didn't want to charge him with full-blown child abuse, okay, let's charge him with the destruction of property. Why was he not arrested? I believe the mother-in-law before I believe any of those other idiots that was in this relationship, because I don't like Keita either. She ain't no fucking angel. She's a gold-digging piece of shit, just like him. And you get what you sign up for. All of this is her fault. You decided to procreate with a damn demon. What is wrong with you? You're a wonderful mother. That's how social media makes her to seem. But is that the same mother that stood by and watched as her baby was being dangled off of a 35-story building and didn't call cops? It was her mother that called the cops. Keita's mother witnessed all of this. A prime witness for the prosecution. If Keita can't get her shit together, that mother, you best believe, for the love of her granddaughter or her grandson or whatever sex that baby was being dangled, you can best believe that that grandmother would go to court and testify against this piece of shit if he was charged. Now, Keita, that's a different story. Most victims of domestic violence stay for a long time. Some stay until they die. This asshole needs to be arrested. I want to know who the NFL is paying off. The NFL, this is their response to him dangling his brand new baby off of a building, assaulting his child's mother. When he grabbed that baby, he left marks all over Keita. Now, did they come from him grabbing the baby or did they come from him hitting on her? Keita ain't gonna tell us because Keita loves him. I don't know, man. I just... The marks alone, her having marks on her chest, are probable cause for an arrest warrant. Just to let you know, if you didn't know that, it is. Those marks on her chest were more than enough evidence to support a crime had taken place. He should have been arrested for domestic assault. So there's the 6th one. So I can think of 6 charges off the top of my head that he should have been charged with, and he was charged with nothing. And I can assure you, it's because the NFL lawyers. Miami Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill was involved in a domestic dispute Monday. Is that what we're calling this? Dangling his baby off of a 35-story building? Domestic dispute. On Monday, we were informed. Now, this is from the head of the NFL. And this was at Sunny Isles Beach, Florida. And it has his address on here, but I'm not going to release that. Why are y'all releasing this man's address? Like, I don't like the son of a bitch, but God. Ain't there privacy laws against shit like that? That's doxing somebody. I don't agree with that. I don't like the motherfucker, but you're putting his child in danger by putting his address on the internet. Full address. That's the NFL. That's the NFL for you. They're trying to get you murdered so they can get rid of you. Listen, I'm completely joking, but why would they put this man's address on there? Unless they tried to get him taken out. Bruh. Who needs enemies when you work for the NFL? And what did I tell you? They'll wipe your ass as long as they need you. But once they don't need you, they posting your address on the internet. In my opinion. So the head, what's his name? Grant Gordon, said on Monday that we were informed that police were called on Tyreek Hill's home, and after conversation with Tyreek and members of his family, the police departed the residence without further incident and the case was closed. She's got marks on her. Her computer is damaged. The baby was dangled off the building. But the police just leave. You can't make this shit up. And the only logical explanation is that he has power in his area because of his position for the NFL. If that were you or me, we would be in jail. Police said that Alyssa Vacro, the mother of Keita, Tyreek's wife, had called authorities. The mother-in-law to the 31-year-old Tyreek said that he threw a computer on the floor, grabbed his daughter. He didn't just grab that baby. He yoked it out of Keita's arms to the point, allegedly, Keita said that that's what left marks all over her chest. I don't know if I believe that. Keita and Tyreek both said that the altercation, quote, never got physical, but officers stated that they saw bruising on the upper chest area of Keita Hill. And once again, these victims, she's not going to snitch on him because this was a heated argument. Once the cop shows up, she's like, oh God, I don't want him going to jail. I need him. I love him. So victims switch up real quick. And it's psychological. It's not their fault that they do that. They have been conditioned to do that, okay? It's sad. So she's not going to tell the cops that he assaulted her if he did, because at this point the cops are here and she realizes that this is a serious matter and that she could send him to jail and have her child taken. So she zips her lips. But thank God for her mother, because her mother did not zip her lips. And let me tell you something. Do you know how crazy you have to be to show your ass in front of your mother-in-law? Call me crazy, fam. There's a lot of people that I don't give a fuck with, most of society. I don't give a fuck what none of these motherfuckers think about me. But when I get married one day, do you know what? That mother-in-law is supposed to be my best friend. I give a fuck what she thinks. I'm going to be damned if she going to see me out here cussing like a sailor like I do every day. I'm going to put that shit on the back burner when I'm around, my mother. So the fact that Tyreek is willing and comfortable to do all of this in front of his mother-in-law is very telling. Very telling. Wouldn't you, at the very least, gain your composure and not fight in front of your mother-in-law? Talk about no class. Once again, it's not about race. It's about how this man was raised, what he believes in, and how he behaves. I think that I would, at the very least, take it to the bedroom or something. I can't be arguing with my husband or boyfriend or whatever in front of family. People don't do that. If you don't know, let me tell you. You take that shit or you wait till later. You don't start dangling babies off of balconies in front of the grandma. He's actually lucky, because if I was woo, if that was me and I was the grandma, he might be dead. You put my grandbaby's life in danger. You just dangled him off a balcony. I'm about to murder you. Do you hear me? That's grounds for murdering you, in my opinion. For me, I'm willing to go to prison for my grandkids. You know what I mean? And it seems like this woman who is Keita's mother is a very decent woman. She told the cops everything. She said, this is what I saw. This is a bad situation. I don't like the son of a bitch. I feel horrible for the grandmother and the baby. Keita has done this to herself, and maybe it's from a lack of knowledge, which I don't doubt. But the first time that he hit her or he started behaving like this, she should have left. And I know that it's a lot harder. You're talking to somebody who ran for 20 years from the same person. I understand that it's a lot harder did than said. But it's a crazy case, y'all. It's just crazy. It's just like, how did he not go to jail? How? How? What is going on? These fake accounts. Sorry to my regular followers. Hey, JW. And you know, when that little boy, he has a 3-year-old son. Well, he was 3 when he was accused of breaking his son's arm. He was investigated for battery of a child. That was the charge they were investigating. Battery of a child, which I'm pretty sure is a felony. Battery of a child. That's a Class C felony. That's like, you're looking at like almost life in prison. That is fucking insane. This is Florida statutes. Battery of a child by throwing, tossing, projecting, or expelling certain fluids or materials is unlawful for any person. A felony of the 3rd degree. This is what he was looking at for breaking his son's arm. It makes me so mad. What is the punishment? Punishment in Florida. Aggravated child abuse occurs when a person commits aggravated battery on a child, willfully tortures, maliciously punishes, or willfully and unlawfully cages a child. We wouldn't have these laws if it wouldn't already been done. Knowingly or willingly abuses a child, and in so doing so causes great bodily harm, permanently disability, or permanent disfigurement to a child. It's sad that this is like, I mean, I'm glad that we have these laws on the books, but it's just heartbreaking to know that children had to go through this for these laws to be passed. And then we have people like Tyreek Hill out here doing this and just getting off scot-free. It enrages me. Child abuse means intentional infliction of physical or mental injury upon a child. An intentional act that could reasonably be expected to result in physical or mental injury to a child. Active encouragement of any person to commit an act that results or could reasonably be expected to result in a physical mental injury to a child. An intentional act that could reasonably be expected to result in physical pain. This is the Florida statutes. Him dangling that baby off of that 35-story building falls under the statute of child abuse because it was an intentional act where he held the baby out, and that act in itself could have led to the child's death. What section is this? B2. So he should have been charged 827.03 B2. Under the section B2, he should have been charged. And that's for just dangling the baby. That's not for the baby that had the broken leg. Let's not forget, he's had multiple children that... Let's look at neglect. Part E, neglect of a child means a caregiver's failure or omission to provide a child with the care, supervision, basic stuff, what we would all expect. A caregiver's failure to make reasonable effort to protect a child from abuse, neglect, or exploitation by another person. So, actually, I was wrong. He can't be charged with child neglect. He would be charged with child abuse for dangling that baby off of that ledge. And that's Florida statutes. If you want to see this, you can go to onlinesunshine.com and read it yourself through the Florida state. Florida legislator. So there's no reason he shouldn't have been charged, and it's disgusting that he's free. makes me so mad. So yeah, there's child abusers out here, but I'm not one. They play for the NFL. Breaks my heart for them children, that little boy and then the newborn baby too, because they're going to have the roughest life. Growing up with a father that is full of egotistical self-preservation is not a father. And it's very clear from the incident at his home where he had the mansion party and they were scrimmaging. It's very clear that this is a man that is willing to harm women and children if they hurt his ego. He crushed that woman because she got the upper hand during a stupid scrimmage. And he literally broke her leg because he got mad that she showed him up. I believe every word of it, and I hope she wins money. I know exactly who he is, and I just heard him talk. Can we please, like, I know that I got an accent, but, like, can we please try to enunciate our fucking words? Like, because I can't understand you. You mumbling right now. You sound like my daddy. My daddy used to mumble. I'd be like, you want me to do the dishes? Like, my brothers mumble because my father mumbled. Can we please just enunciate our words so that I can understand what the fuck you're saying? It help me out, help you out, if I can understand you. Like, and this is coming from a bitch that's got an accent. So, it's just, there's a level where you can tell when certain people are speaking, they don't care. Y'all ever sense that from some of the NFL players? They're kind of bothered by the line of questioning. Sir, you need to be grateful. You're making $1 million a year, and the only like, you literally have a problem with answering some questions in a very communicative way. Is that a word? You need to communicate. You're not communicating. You're sitting there all grumpy and mumbling and acting like it's too hard for you to speak your words. If it's too hard for them to speak words, then we don't need them in the NFL. If they don't want to care about what they're doing, then we don't need them. I don't care how good they play. Fuck them people. They're horrible people. Why are you supporting this behavior? I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to the gym. We're going to have a good day. I might damn have to go back to that computer shop. I think that it would be good to buy from a private person because you're supporting, like, local business. But also, he has policies where, like, if I need any help, I can take it to him and get help. So, damn it. I had that in there all night. You know? Damn it. Yeah, I think it would be best to buy the computer from the computer shop because if I buy it from, like, Walmart and something goes wrong, ain't nobody gonna be there for me. If I buy it from the computer shop and something goes wrong, he's going to be there. He's going to be there. And it's a small business too, and I would rather support a small business. And the computer that he's selling is $50 cheaper than the one that Best Buy has. So, I don't know. I think that going with that Dell, I was going to go with the other one, the Loreno, because it's steel plated, but when I was looking into the company, they're a Chinese company, and I don't support other countries that, you know, not items that we can make here. And Dell is an American company, so Dell is made and manufactured here, and that's what I'm going to support, is American made. It would be nice to have that Loreno with the steel case because I know that it's not going to get damaged. But the Dell one is very nice, and it's a sturdy computer as well. I just don't want to give my money to the Chinese, if I'm being honest. Maybe if they wouldn't have hit us back with tariffs, I would have thought differently. But now I'm like, fuck them people. They was always our enemies for a reason. Like, for real. Take my damn job. That's who's got my job. Everybody overseas. India, fucking China, Japan. We sent all of our jobs over there. That's who's got my job. Yeah, I definitely want an American-made computer. I'm not supporting stuff from other countries anymore because I'm an American and I'm proud of that, and that's how an American is supposed to behave. I'm not saying I'm not buying anything ever again. I'm just saying that conscientiously, when I'm purchasing big price items or big items, I'm going to be conscious about where they come from, where they're manufactured, and where that money is going. When you're shopping in the grocery store, it's going to be damn hard to check every label to make sure that it's not from Korea or somewhere. You know what I mean? So I know that there's going to be instances where I still have products, but given this last election, I want to make a more conscientious effort at buying American-made products and supporting American businesses, because that's what we need to be doing. That guy that has that computer shop over there, you're going to get better business with him than you'll ever get at a Best Buy. I don't understand why you would want to pay $50 more for a computer. Why not just buy it from a local business, get it cheaper, and then always have someone that's going to have your back if something goes wrong? Why would you want to buy it from Best Buy and they're not even going to talk to you if you bring it in? You're going to have to call, make an appointment. Like, I can't even imagine the Apple store you do. You can't just walk into an Apple store anymore. You got to make an appointment. Welcome to the new world. I will not be making any appointments. I will be going over here to this computer man who is super nice, and his grandpa brought him to North Carolina and he loves the fresh mountain air. Like, I'd rather deal with him than any Best Buy any day. Call me crazy. But building those relationships is what made us so amazing. And we've stopped that. I mean, clearly. Do you know the person you buy your groceries from? My point. 50 years ago they did. Like, oh, I was at the grocery store talking to Betty. Who's Betty, Mama? The lady that was cashing me out. I'm like, damn, Mama, you act like... I went to high school with her. Like, you know? It's like the personal relationships are not personal relationships anymore. And I'm not saying you got to go down, make friends with your damn hairstylist, but it would be a good idea. Like, it would be a good idea to be nice to them, you know? Like, maybe build some kind of rapport with them while you're sitting in the chair getting your hair done. What happened to society? Hell, people get married every day, Brooke, and they don't even know each other, so shit. Are you even surprised that people don't know who their computer guy is? No, I'm not. People out here jumping into marriages like they jumping in swimming pools and they don't even know who they marrying. I'm not surprised. Apparently, personal relationships are not a strong point, is not in a strong point in this country. You know? You too, Deborah. I'm about to get off here. I got to go work out, and then we're gonna... I don't know. I ain't made it that far. Yeah, I would just advise to, maybe not expose your kids to horrible people like Tyreek Hill. It sends the wrong message, you know? And, me as an adult, I want nothing to, like, I don't even want to... I won't be supporting the NFL going further. I used to think that, like, football was cool and stuff. Now I'm starting to see the other side of things. It's concerning. I wonder how many other players have done this over the years. I wonder how many career players committed horrible acts of violence against women and children, and it was swept under the rug. So now I got beef with the NFL, but when do I ever have beef with nobody? Like, you know, would it be me if I didn't have beef with some horrible people being horrible and doing horrible things to humans? No, I wouldn't be me. So, screw you, NFL. You better fire that boy, or the beach police need to arrest him. The marks on Keita's chest is probable cause for an arrest warrant for domestic violence. The broken computer is probable cause for an arrest warrant for destruction of personal property. The dangling the baby off the balcony, which is on camera, is grounds for a child abuse charge. So sad. Anyways, I love you guys. Please pray for these children and Keita's mother. Like, can you imagine being that grandma? Whew, these are the true victims, you know, the children and the grandmother. And pray for me, because God knows I need it, and I'm praying for you guys, and I hope that you guys have a good afternoon or a good morning. Good morning. And we'll talk this afternoon. We might cook something tonight. Bye, y'all. I'm gonna go enjoy the gym.